When I looked back at when I was struggling the most, I was like trying to fast because I was motivated or not eating enough food. And then around that 3 or 4 o'clock time is when I would really lose it. Welcome to the Mastering Mindfulness Institute with me, Gina Warfel, a podcast that invites you on a journey to self-trust with your food and body so you can reclaim your health with confidence. As a registered dietitian who has multiple degrees in health, and yet I was constantly at war with my body and couldn't trust myself with food, I've made it my mission to show you that coming into harmony with your food and body is all possible. I challenge conventional and outdated ways of dieting to show you how to step into sovereignty over your food choices and life. I can't wait to share with you the depths of my own journey, as well as thoughts from experts and real human beings on their journey, just like you. Thanks for listening. Hey, welcome back. Just this morning, I got a question from somebody asking, why do I eat healthy all day long and then right around 3 or 4 o'clock p.m., I fall off track? It's like clockwork. It happens almost every day. And I thought this actually really deserves a full podcast topic explaining what is really going on here. Because it's actually one of the most common challenges that people have, one of the most common questions I get asked. And if you don't understand what's happening, it can feel really frustrating. And I think even most of the health industry or coaches tend to not really know and understand what's happening. So the solutions that we're given is just try harder, set more goals, distract yourself, just write down your food, but it's not really working. It feels like it's a Band-Aid over something else that's really happening, and it can feel really confusing and really frustrating. And I understand this problem inside and out because it was one of the biggest challenges that I faced, and even though I knew how to eat healthy, it was like there was something stronger inside of me that was causing me to sabotage myself right around that 3, 4 o'clock time. And so it really has to do with understanding how your body is designed and what is it doing. It doesn't really matter if your goals are to track your food or to eat healthier. If your body's chemistry is shifting in a certain way, it's going to win. And if you don't understand how to work with your body, you'll stay stuck in those cycles wondering, why do I know how to eat healthy, but I just can't quite seem to do it? And why is my willpower not strong enough? There are 2 core reasons that I see that causes this falling off track right around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. There are 2 main reasons that this happens. I'm going to break down what is happening inside of the body for each of these reasons, and then help you understand, how do you know for your body, what is your body communicating to you? Is it reason 1 or is it reason 2? And they're very different things that are happening, and I'm going to show you what are the solutions for each of those differences. And once I understood how to work with my body in this way, it just kind of went away. I don't get that 3, 4, or 5 o'clock time of where I really want to sabotage myself. It was really understanding what was happening inside of my body and working with its design. And I think that that's one of the greatest pitfalls of the health industry is when we're not looking at how is my body designed, we don't know how to work with it. So then we end up using these patchwork, willpower, goal setting, accountability, tracking. These are just Band-Aids to try to control our food intake. If we can see our body through the lens of my body is perfectly designed, when it is driving me to eat food, it must be doing it for a reason. When you don't understand it, you go head to head at war with your own body. If you understand what's happening, you can start working with its chemistry and understanding what is it that my body is telling me that it's needing at this time. That is the goal here with you that I do with my students in Mastering Mindfulness, is not teaching them to control their food, but understanding what is my body communicating to me that it needs. So I hope by the end of this, it becomes so much more clear. I hope you have so much more compassion. If this has been a struggle for you, I hope by the end of this, you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense from what my body is experiencing to scientifically what's happening. And now I have more of a strategy and a path for, okay, here's what I know I need to do. That's what I'm here to help you with today. So let's talk about the 2 different reasons of what causes that, let's just say 3 o'clock, where you're eating so healthy all day long and then you fall off track. Maybe you have health goals. You planned out what you were going to eat. Maybe you're writing down what you're going to eat, But one of the most common pitfalls that I see is that people get very motivated when they're starting their health journey. So they don't eat enough throughout the day. So maybe they start by fasting in the morning and then they eat like a light salad and they create this belief that I'm going to eat this healthy all throughout the day. And when I looked back at when I was struggling the most, I definitely did that. I was like trying to fast because I was motivated or not eating enough food. And then around that 3 or 4 o'clock time is when I would really lose it. Here's what's so important to know. You might be like, but I'm motivated. I want to get healthier. But what your body is doing is it is sensing changes that are happening in your body. So if all of a sudden you're taking in less calories and it's significantly less, or your body is sensing that you're not getting enough protein, calories, nutrients, vitamins, then your body is designed to shift to increase your appetite and your drive for food for survival. Your body doesn't know if you have health goals or if you're going into famine. Your body is designed, its number one job is for immediate survival. So if you're under eating throughout the day, what your body is going to do is it will adapt and it will increase your hunger and your desire for food. So what that feels like is it's just like all of a sudden you're ravenous, you're hungry, you need food, and you probably feel pretty hungry right around that time. I have had so many students who, when they realize this and they get honest that, yeah, I have not been eating enough food earlier in the day, they just correct it. You don't have to overeat and like food load just to make sure you're good. You can just practice tuning in to, am I eating enough food, the right amount, so that my body doesn't trigger this survival response. I've had a lot of students who will eat more earlier in the day, and then they don't feel that survival mechanisms start up where they're hungry and they're ravenous. And one of the greatest examples of this was actually my dad. I interviewed him on the podcast before because he has such a great story of practicing this. But I remember when he told me, he's like, 5 o'clock is my downtime. I come home from work and I go for like chips or Doritos. Can you help me stop eating the Doritos? And I was like, okay. Back when I was a dietitian, I probably would have told somebody, don't eat the Doritos, don't eat the Doritos, and that's what we would have focused on. But instead, I took a different approach. Instead of telling him, don't eat the Doritos, I asked him, what's your day like earlier in the day? How are you eating? And he said, I may or may not eat breakfast, but I have coffee. I might have a lunch. Sometimes I get to something, but I'm really busy. I'm driving around for work, going to different appointments and meetings, and then I get home and I'm starving. And I was like, okay, let's try to get in some breakfast or lunch, pack it with you. But even if you don't, worst case scenario, put some healthy snacks in your truck. And so he made up a trail mix of healthy nuts that had good fats and proteins. And that completely solved everything for him. He didn't even have to try to willpower not eating the Doritos. He just needed to eat more during the day. And then that survival mechanism didn't kick in. He felt fine. He would come home and be like, okay, what do I want to eat for dinner? Now he's in rational thinking instead of this survival, I need calories. So motivation can be great because motivation can get us going and spark our health journey, but sometimes motivation can hold us back because it can propel us into doing extremes. And when you do extremes, the body will start to get these signals of, I haven't had enough food. The body doesn't know if you're going into famine or if you're trying to get healthier. It's just picking up the signals that your food intake is significantly less. So the body will respond by adapting, increasing your hunger, and increasing your drive for food. So motivation can kind of be a downfall sometimes because the more motivated you are, sometimes the more you go on one end to an extreme, and then your body fights back to the other way. So how would you know? So let's look for clues. What are the clues that this is the thing that's happening in your body? One, you would just want to observe and get honest with yourself. Have I been really restricting my food? Maybe skipping meals. I know that intermittent fasting can have some health benefits, but if you feel yourself pushing it and it's causing you to get ravenous later, that's not a good thing for you. You're in this under-eating, overeating roller coaster, and it's forever going to make you feel like you can't trust yourself. Sometimes there's a benefit of just having these spread out meals if it helps create more stability. And that's what works out really well for me, is just making sure that I eat enough food throughout the day. Get honest with yourself. Look at, am I eating enough food? If not, you might need to increase your calories, and you definitely might need to increase your protein and healthy fats. These are very satiating, and also your nutrients. Remember that your body is constantly getting these signals of, do I have enough food to eat? Do I have enough nutrient stores? All of that is being sensed by the body, and then it sends a signal up to your brain if all the nutrients that are required in the body are being met. And if not, it's going to increase your drive to eat. So the healthier you eat earlier in the day, the more your body is going to feel satisfied later in the day. But let's say if you start your day off with pancakes and a latte that doesn't have a lot of good nutrients, your body's not receiving the signals that it's being adequately nourished. What you want to do is front load your day with a healthy breakfast, a healthy lunch, nutrient-dense things, protein-rich things. So instead of having, let's say, a protein bar that doesn't have a lot of vitamins and nutrients, you'd be better off maybe having an omelet with some avocado and spinach or some veggies in there. Or maybe a smoothie and you throw in like some greens and some protein powder for protein or whatever it is that you like, but something that has some colors in it, fresh vegetables or some fruits that are vibrant and colorful that's going to give your body nutrients. I'm always a big fan of making sure that we have enough protein on board. I aim for about 20 to 25 grams of protein per meal just to make sure that my body is getting that nourishment, and good healthy fats. That might be your nuts, it might be avocado, it might come from oils. And you want to make sure that you're getting good, healthy, satiating fats. I'm not against carbs, but I feel like most people tend to go a little too carb heavy that makes them ravenous and hungry later. So if you focus on good proteins and fats, it's more likely to satiate you throughout the day so that you can go into your dinner with rational thinking. So reason number one is that you have not been eating enough food earlier in the day, and your blood sugar is getting too low, your nutrients are getting too low. You would know that because, one, you can look back and see, does this make sense? Have I been not eating enough food? But you also feel hungry, like you're feeling ravenous, maybe that low blood sugar, you're feeling kind of hangry. Those are the signs and clues that your body is telling you you have not had enough food to eat. Maybe you even start to feel sleepy and energy dip. That solution is you want to make sure that you eat enough food earlier in the day. Make sure you're getting in those colorful veggies or fruits to get in the vitamins and nutrients, good proteins and fats because those are satiating and they're required for the body. Now, the second reason is completely different from reason number one, and I want to help you feel the difference in your body so you can become curious and tune in and see, is it more reason number one? Is it reason number two? Or maybe am I experiencing both? That can happen too. So reason number two has to do with your stress response. Now, I know I mentioned reason number one is a survival mechanism. Your body is designed to get you to eat if you haven't been eating enough food. But reason number two is a different type of survival mechanism, and it has to do with your stress levels, your cortisol levels. Your body will naturally produce cortisol, your stress hormone. This plays a really big role in what we eat, how much we eat, and most people don't realize it. Cortisol is your stress hormone that raises during the day naturally. It keeps you alert, it keeps you focused, and then it's supposed to come down at night. And most people have probably more stressful lives than what they even realize. If you think about it, we do have our baseline stress of what's happening in the day, work things, kid things, to-dos, and it becomes such a normalized part of life that we are sometimes in this state of fight or flight, this elevated cortisol state, and we don't even realize it because it's become an expected normal thing. And so if we're rushing to get to work or jump on the computer and check emails and remember things, and even if they're fun things like you can't wait to be with your family or your kids or your friends, sometimes it's still just a lot. We also have everything like flashing at us, blinking at us. We have texts on our wrist now, texts on our phone, stoplights, all these things that weren't originally designed to constantly stimulate us and get our attention. So naturally, we do have stress that builds up throughout the day, and cortisol plays a really important role. If that cortisol is constantly elevated, your body will seek out food in an attempt to calm your stress hormones. This is a survival mechanism. It's your body's design. And it's very intelligent because right around that 5 o'clock time is when cortisol needs to start coming down. And that is really important because shortly after, melatonin will start to come up. And melatonin is the hormone that lets you sleep. They're opposite of each other. So if cortisol doesn't come down, melatonin can't come up. They're opposite. They're like a seesaw. So we need cortisol to start coming down in order for melatonin to start raising so you can sleep at night. Now remember, what if I looked at my body as my body is perfectly designed? My body has this intelligence that my mind might not understand. I might be frustrated because I'm like, body, why are you craving sugar? And why are you craving things that make me go off the rails when I have health goals? This is frustrating. Let's just put your health goals aside for a minute and look at the body and how perfectly designed it is. If cortisol is still high as the night is going on, melatonin can't come up and let you sleep. There is something that brings cortisol down, and that is food. Specifically, carbohydrates and sugar help lower cortisol's response in the body. So your body will sense cortisol is too high, melatonin is not coming up. Let's take over controls. Let's take over the brain. Let's go get this human to go seek out food to help bring down the stress hormones so melatonin can come up. So how does this feel differently in the body? Well, you might be hungry, but you also might not be hungry. You may have just let your stress hormones build up too much throughout the day, and then your body is looking for sugar or carbs to help calm those stress hormones down so that you can sleep at night. Sometimes the greater the sugar cravings, the more your body is trying to adapt and rebalance and get your circadian rhythm back on track. This could feel really different in your body because you might not be hungry. You may have had a healthy lunch, plenty of food for breakfast, but you're like, why am I on this ravenous prowl for sugar or carbs or food, or I get snacky right around 3 or 4 o'clock? And that's usually a clue that that's the stress response, that cortisol is elevated, that your body is looking for food to calm your nervous system or create safety. Sometimes we may have gone throughout an entire busy workday, pouring into maybe kids, a job, answering to people, doing other things for everybody else, and realizing I have not given anything for me and my body all day long. And that's when I realize it, is at 3 or 4 o'clock, my body is like, I need something to calm my nervous system. I need something to bring me pleasure, to feel good. I haven't felt good all day long. And when we don't understand what it is that the body is trying to do, we can feel like we're trying to control it. But if the body is still in that survival stress response, the body might further increase cravings, and you're like, no, control, I'm trying to get healthy. And your body's like, I'm trying to bring down the stress response. So while it can feel really frustrating, we can feel angry and frustrated with our bodies or ourselves, thinking that it's a lack of willpower or a lack of discipline. But meanwhile, our bodies are like, I'm trying to support bringing down your stress hormones. I'm trying to help you sleep at night. I'm trying to help you re-regulate your nervous system, and sometimes bring a sense of safety or pleasure around a time where we're like slowing down at the end of the day, and we might need a way to deal and process our stress that has accumulated from the morning or the day. So how can our body give us clues that this is what's happening? This one was definitely, both of them were happening to me. I had both reason 1 and reason number 2. But the way that I felt reason number 2 in my body was very different, and I felt controlled by it until I stopped trying to use willpower, and instead I started tuning inward to my body and noticing, how does my body communicate to me and let me know that my stress response is being turned on? This might take a little bit of investigation for you and getting to know your body, but I'm going to share with you how I tuned in and got to know my body. Maybe some of the signs and the clues will be the same, and you're like, yeah, my body does that too. Or maybe it'll help just let you see how I'm exploring the communication of my body, and you might notice that yours communicates in its own way, that you get to know its signals. So basically what I'm looking for is not necessarily the moment that I feel like I'm going to sabotage myself. It's, can I check in with my body throughout the day and get to know how is it changing and letting me know that the stress is starting to build. Most people don't pay attention or don't check in until they're deep in it. And then they're like, what's wrong with me? And then the body is like, I'm trying to help you. And then it feels, I think of this as like learning to surf. Truly, I really think of this as learning to surf, and this analogy has helped me a lot. The stress response as like a wave that is building. That wave builds long before it becomes a big wave. And so your stress might start building the moment that you open your eyes in the morning, your alarm goes off and you're busy, and maybe your body needs a little bit of breathing and regulating. Maybe it's throughout the day as tension starts building. But I think of it as like a wave where tension and the body will start shifting throughout the day, but it's subtle, so we tend to not notice it. It goes a little bit unnoticed. If it continues to build more and more and more and more, then it becomes like a wave. And most people don't notice until they're at like the peak of the wave. And they have so much judgment around it that they're trying to fight it. And then it's like they're smashing into the wave and they're drowning in the wave. And it's just like it's not working out really well. It's not going so well. So instead of waiting until you're at the peak of the wave and you're swimming into it and you're fighting it, instead we want to learn how to swim with this wave. And that comes with noticing, how does my body tell me that stress is beginning to build up earlier in the day? So for me, it was like, I would start to notice my neck would start to contract and tighten. My jaw would feel a little tight. And this is like what the body does when it's under stress. The muscles start to contract. That's a protective response. It's the way that our nervous system protects our body. So I would feel it up at the top of my neck. To this day, I still know, my body's telling me stress is starting to kick in. My neck, my jaw. One of the other ways is that I would start noticing that I was holding my breath. I would tighten this and I would notice, gosh, I'm not even breathing. Those were the little clues that my body would start telling me, there's something I'm not feeling. My stress response is building up. I didn't notice that before. That was just how I lived in my body. It seemed normal to me. And then I would end up fighting my body's stress and my cravings, and it would feel like something was taking over me. So when I started to tune in and notice, okay, I feel tightness, I feel contraction, I'm holding my breath, you can start to notice, when does my body start to shift? The earlier you can pay attention and catch it, the less you're going to feel like you are powerless to food later on. If you wait until you're deep in it, it's really hard to understand what's happening and work with your body because your stress is so high. You want to start cluing in on, when does my body let me know? If that moment does come up where you feel yourself wanting to choose the less healthy food than what you wanted, it's not about fighting and controlling. It's about taking a breath and softening. This feels uncomfortable. What does my body want to tell me? What is the stress that I'm under right now that my body is communicating to me? And let go of the outcome of whether you eat the food or you don't eat the food. Let go of the outcome. Instead, see this as a really valuable learning moment. What is my body trying to tell me because it's under stress? And so the more that you can do two things for this one is regulate your nervous system. Two is find out what is the source that is creating my stress response. This is what we practice in Mastering Mindfulness, and I want to share with you the tools that we use. To regulate your nervous system earlier in the day, one, using the breath is so important. The breath is like the on and the off switch for the nervous system. If you're holding your breath and breathing shallow, it activates the nervous system and it creates that buildup of stress. If you can breathe in and out throughout your nose, you can immediately feel your nervous system calm down by practicing to take slower breaths. In Mastering Mindfulness, we use a tool called HeartMath. Anyone can buy it. You can buy it if you want to check out this tool. I'm not affiliated with this company. They don't pay me to say this. I love this. I love it as a tool and a technology. It really helped me out. We use it in my course. And what it does is it gives you a breath pacer to follow. And it shows you when you have come out of that stress response. It shows you when your body is getting in sync. And so that's how you can know, because sometimes when you're like meditating or breathing, it can be like, I think I'm doing it, but I don't know. HeartMath will show you, yes, you're getting your body in sync. And so it's not required. You could just breathe or do a meditation. I just love it as a really helpful tool. And so you can use HeartMath, or you can do breathing or meditation to help calm your nervous system throughout the day. You want to do this earlier in the day to help calm and bring down those stress hormones. The next part of it is asking, what am I not wanting to feel, or what is creating the stress response inside of me? And that's when, instead of trying to suppress it and run away from it, like most people do at that time, instead we create space to tune in and feel, what am I feeling right now? And exploring those feelings is what allows us to build trust with them, to not let them create this overwhelming stress response inside of our bodies, and to understand, like, what is the source that's elevating my stress response throughout the day. And so for you, it might be that I need to be productive and I need to get enough done, but what's creating the feeling underneath that? Is it, if I don't get enough done, I might not be financially secure, or I might not be loved by my partner or by other people, or I might not be good enough. And what is the anxious feeling that it's bringing up in that moment that might need your love and care and attention? This stress response can provide us really valuable information. This one feels way different than reason number one. Reason number one is I didn't eat enough food. My body is signaling to me I'm hungry, I'm ravenous. Reason number two is my stress hormones are too high. I want to regulate my nervous system earlier in the day. And then I want to tune in and understand, what is that stress response trying to tell me? And that feels very different. You could feel full, but you have almost this like magnetic, like, drive for sugar or snacks or processed foods, and it feels like I need something to calm me down and to feel good and to feel pleasurable. Neither of these are bad. If we have this drive to have sugar or food, it's not a bad thing. It's not about suppressing it and controlling it. It's about understanding, if my body was perfectly designed, what is it actually here to help me do? Is it helping me make sure I have enough food? Is it helping me regulate my nervous system and help me sleep at night? When we understand that and provide what our bodies need, we start working in harmony with it. When I didn't understand this, I was trying so hard earlier in the day. I was probably under eating, letting my stress build up, and then I would lose it around 3 or 4 o'clock and wonder, what is wrong with me? And no matter how hard I tried, no matter how much willpower I used, every day would repeat, and I would wonder, like, why can't I figure this out? But when I started to tune into my body, pay attention, okay, is this hunger or is this my nervous system? Okay, now I can tell my body is telling me something. Do I need more food? Do I need to address my stress response? Now that's going to change what I do. Maybe I need both. But once I started doing that, instead of having this roller coaster of under eating, losing control, instead I was just giving my body what it needs. And it feels like I'm just in this very gentle, like, oh, my body tells me I need food. Oh, my body tells me I'm a little stressed. How can I address that? And I'm no longer having these swings of losing that self-trust, because I think that's one of the most painful places to be, is like, why can't I trust myself? If you're using willpower, it has nothing to do with that. Please let go of that idea that you need more willpower, that you need to track your food, that you even need someone to hold you accountable. It's not about having somebody watch over your shoulder and hold you accountable. It's about understanding, what is my body signaling to me that it's needing? And instead of going to war with it between my body and my mind that wants to get healthier, if we can work together, and I can still have my health goals, I can still want to get healthier, but I'm understanding the communication my body is giving me, now we start working together and the body rebalances and gets healthy without this push and pull war. I hope this was helpful today. Feel free to let me know in comments, or feel free to send me a message if this landed with you today. For me, it's been so helpful to understand what's happening in my body, both from a science perspective and then tuning in and learning, how does my body communicate what it needs? So I hope that this is helpful for you and giving you some insights and clues. If you love learning and you want to keep learning about this kind of stuff, I do have a training on masteringmindfulness.institute called Reclaiming Your Power with Food that goes deeper and feeling powerful with your food choices. My goal here is never to tell you what you have to do or eat or tell you to restrict your food, but help you move into a closer relationship with your body and how it communicates. And that's really my goal here. So we'd love to hear how this lands with you, and I'll see you next time.